All right. Before my scheduled rant, I was just gonna copy rip this from the stream VOD, but then I was just like, I'll kind of make it a little bit more and kind of make it in my normal format. So this video is gonna be a little bit more about what is it, structure in this game and how this game lacks a lot of structure. And we'll go over that in a bit. I just kind of want to give a shout out to this person over here. I met them in a bounty and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy was doing so much damage. He was cooking. How did he do so much damage? I should have let him know that I had a rhythm guide and all that stuff. Hopefully he sees it and all that. But yeah, whenever I see people, I always like to talk to them. And so a lot of times I get you guys commenting and then you comment on something I made a video about a week ago and then you only see one video. So that's where this is gonna come into play. This is gonna come into play. This guy commented on my weapon damage video or whatever. And it's like he commented on the weapon damage video and he commented on the weapon damage video, and then literally the next video over is Fina fixes weapons. So if he had looked on my channel, he would have seen this, and this literally would have segmented his point. But yeah, that's generally why I probably won't reply to a lot of comments because I probably have a video that explains it, and if I don't, I might do it. But sometimes they're just like like this one. This is on a video that's like 10 years old, not 10 years old, but it's like a month old. This video was me first watching Rhythm, and it was more for a different point. So it's fine. I just want you guys to know that, and I think this isn't bad. It's fine, but I just want to give a shout out to that guy, W him, and also just um if I respond to your stuff or if you type something, just know before you type something, I've probably already talked about it, and if I haven't, then it's probably talked about on stream. So that's all I'm gonna say. And so, unless you want to get into a discourse, I don't really know if you want to, because there's no point because you're just typing to type, and I don't want to type a 20-minute long comment. So unless you have something really insightful, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so this game lacks structure. Here's what we're gonna go over. And the main thing I want to go over is low key, this game is a point 0.9. It's because this game definitely is a point. I won't say that. It's a 1.1 in my opinion. It should be like a 1.0, but it's still, in my opinion, probably going to be a point 0.9, right? It's going to be a 0.95 or 0.9B, whatever you want to call it, because I doubt they're going to fix anything if they've only listed 5 things they're fixing. And I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But the main thing is this game came from a gotcha game, so some of it does make sense that it lacks structure, and the structure was from a gotcha game. But sometimes you question certain things, and it's like, how would this have even worked in a gotcha game? How would this have even worked in general? Like some demon wedges with some characters, like Hellfire not having appropriate demon wedges, and Randy being non-existent until C6. You're telling me you would have made people spend money, and if it's Wuwa, I6 was what each one is 300 in Wuwa, so like I don't know, but your rate is 0.3 for the current gotcha, so I don't know. So yeah, but to me in general, when you talk about this is what I call a 5 cereals argument. There was kind of like a trend back in the old days where it was like, yo, name 5 cereals, you got 30 seconds, right? Or name 5 something, right? And sometimes you just sit there and sit and be like, I can't name 5 cereals, right? And other times you'd be like, yo, I can name Trix, Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Rice Krispie Treats, Frosted Flakes, right? But the next time I might be like Golden Crunch, Cocoa Puffs, Trix, stuff like that. So it's to me, it's just a name 5 cereals argument where there are gonna be problems that'll arise, and then you'll be able to name them sometimes. Sometimes you haven't tried them. Sometimes you haven't experienced them. Sometimes you can't even think of anything because it doesn't pop up in the time. And so a lot of this is a name 5 cereals argument, and a lot of this is experiential. I had a video that I deleted with experience and all this stuff, so I don't know. That video was kind of in the mud. It was kind of like a cool video, but I never put it out. I kind of maybe I will put it out, but I don't know. Maybe if you guys want it, I'll do it. So next is I feel like they didn't test the progress of the game only at max. Max like stuff. And this is a big I feel. That's why I feel is bolded. To me, it seems like there wasn't that thought process of going and progressing the game slowly and playing your character. I really just feel like they tested out characters at like +5 demon wedges, +10 demon wedges, and we're like, okay, yeah, the game works. That's what really comes down to me. Because a lot of this progress doesn't feel great, especially the ascension system and the trial ranks and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel great. Especially that power is locked behind trial ranks. It's just not a great system that sits well with me structurally and all of that. It doesn't matter because you don't really need power for the most part and all that, but still, I think saying it doesn't matter because you don't need something still isn't a great argument a lot of the time. Because then it's just like, what's the point of playing the game? So that's what I always say when people say that. It's the same thing like, oh, you don't need +10 golds. It's like, okay, then what's the point of playing the game? Because that's all you're doing in this game, farming for that, farming to level up your characters. So yeah. Structure is a basis on design philosophy that provides consistent expectations on certain actions within the game. That's my definition of structure. Okay. And basically, what this means is a lot of the times you have certain things in games and they follow specific principles, and these principles are very expected for the player and certain thing and in outcomes, right? It's the same way, like if I level up my character, they will get stronger. If I give introns to my character, they will get stronger. And we'll go over that because that's on the list, you can see. But these things are structural systems that work, but in some cases they don't work. And in this case, right, that's the big thing, right? The simplest way I can say is like if you upgrade your demon wedge to +5 purple, right, it'll be the same as +5 gold. But when you upgrade it to +10, right, it's not 2x. It's like a factor of 0.9, whatever some smart guy in my comments said, right? It's like that, right? You know exactly how it works. It's basically 2x, but you understand. It's consistent. It's a consistent system. Every time you upgrade a gold wedge, it's to that. I don't remember what it is. It says like multiply by 9. I think it's beyond the point. I don't really mind it. But that's the main thing. It's something that is consistent, right? And some people would say, "Oh, well, structure in games and in certain parts of games is very necessary because when you don't have structure in your game, it just doesn't feel great as a player to play." And so I'm just gonna go over some of these. Like I said, these are like name 5 cereal things. Tomorrow I could name something else. The next day I could name something else. Unless I came over and noted everything every day, I'm not doing that. These are just more of like something I just kind of want to point out to you guys, and maybe you guys will know, and maybe you guys will go and tell the devs because you'll notice it and be like, I go through this and then I think about it, and structurally this isn't that great. And maybe someone has some pull with the devs and they'll know, and then they'll be like, hey, well, this doesn't feel great, and it doesn't feel great because of this, this, and this. So, yeah. Wording for certain things, i.e., Hellfire, right, and Fina. So, if we go over here, right, this one is just like increases damage dealt to enemies within a 6-meter radius around Hellfire. This is worded around Hellfire. So, if it's around Hellfire, this is kind of signifying as it being a debuff. And it's a debuff that only applies to Hellfire. And it's something I always talk about. And I always talk about the damage dealt too, but I mean, we've kind of figured out how damage dealt because of Borat and not because of the game, which I dislike. How it's noted as something different than damage bonus, but it's basically the same in the same bucket, so it doesn't matter. It shouldn't have a fucking different name, but hey, it is what it is. Um, and maybe I'm wrong, but from what Borat says, it's in the same bucket, so to me it doesn't make any sense why it's in a different thing, but yeah. And then like right here, right, it says when Fina deals weapon damage, right? And then you go to Lynn, and Lynn says when Lynn deals damage, right? Parentheses from Lynn. You see, so like it's weird and it's inconsistent. And this is what I talk about when I mean structure. It's like in a basic game, right? Like you see how they have the parentheses from Lynn, and from right here, if it was consistent and structurally the same, it would be parentheses from Fina, right? And then over here, it would be parentheses from Hellfire. but there isn't that structure in their systems. And so, regardless of what you say, if this game was a gotcha game or a different game, this sort of level of polish is very expected in a game like this. And to not have this level of polish is kind of sad. And it's a game that released at 1.0 and not at point 0.9. In my opinion, it's still a point 0.9, but even if this was a gotcha game, or regardless of the game, this change wouldn't have had been different. And so it's a change that literally is not anything crazy, but it's a structural problem in the game. And then when you have different characters in the future, this structural problem, boom, 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 and then you just have this annoying wording problem that just lingers. And then you don't teach this system and you don't create this system. So even if you're hiring new people, because hey guys, we're hiring new people, then these new players, new people that are getting hired aren't going to be trained on a proper structure and formatting. So when not one guy's naming Big Titty Fuda Dragon number 27 and one guy's naming fucking Big Titty Elf number 48, right? They're not going to have the same design philosophy and structure in these characters, their wording and everything. And it sucks. It sucks. And it's something that I hope does get addressed in the future. And I don't know, it could just be translation. Because there are a lot of things in this game that when they're translated, like Surge, they don't translate properly. And it could just be us. It could just be us. But even then, that still sucks. Because why are we going to be second class citizens? Just like how we were second class citizens on the event. SEA got it exactly when the event happened. We didn't get FINA when the event happened. We had to wait an extra 10 hours. After the update, not the event. The FINA update. So it's just like, that's also a structural problem. How is it that not the event doesn't happen and the character doesn't release exactly when the version changes? That's a structural problem. Because then a different server has the character, but then this server doesn't have the character. And it's just like, bro, we just give everyone the same thing at the same time. That's also a structure. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's a name that's not even on my list, and it just comes up, you see? So, like, these are, like, problems. Like, I can't tell you everything, and I really can't, and it sucks, but it's just, it's what it is, and it's something that the more you look into it, it's like, these are problems, and they're like, they're really nothing, but then they just, like, they're problems that will add on to each other, right? They'll just layer. It's funny because I was using the layer to explain weapon damage to someone. So yeah. This one, the next one, the introns with rhythm and FINA, right? And then we'll go over this parentheses. The introns versus rhythm and FINA, right? And so this is one thing I was also explaining. It's like, so for rhythm, all of our introns feel very nice because all of our introns, they go, and I explain this in the rhythm guide. This is why I say, like, all this stuff I explain, but then I never really talk about it in any detail. And then, like, one guy watches this video and he doesn't watch the other 20 videos. So I'm sorry, I just a little bit free bitching, but you know, right here we have Intron 1, right? Intron 2. Both of these activate for her Q. Okay? And both of these go to make her Q so much better. Right? And then we have Intron 4, right, which works with her quality of life and her sanity, and that also works with her E, because Rhythm just has a really good kit, in my opinion. There are a lot of other characters that have good kits, but Rhythm's kit flows well, and she just has all the wedges to make her work. And then right here, this also works with her Q. So her whole kit revolves around her Q getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And so as you get those introns, they feel really, really great when you upgrade them, right? But then we go over here to FINA, and I've said this in the FINA guide, right? And why FINA sucks. You go over here and FINA, this, right, right here increases her ability to support her team. This makes her be a better support. This makes her be a better support. It increases her support. It makes her stronger combat air. It makes her better support. And then this one also, indirectly. Then we go here. It's only for her. It's only for, why is that only for her? And then we go down, and then this doesn't matter. You can say whatever we want for this. And then this over here, it goes only for her. And then it's like, right? And this is the problem with structural. Your elemental system isn't structurally sound, and this doesn't work in immersive theater. So you're only doing it for the crit chance, but the crit chance doesn't allow her to overcrit, so it doesn't feel as great as other I6s, like Rhythm's I6 that literally is a double damage buff for her. It literally doubles her damage, however you want to say it. Lynn's, which literally makes her, like, it's like a massive quality of life, and it works with her ability, her Q, right? This one doesn't. It doesn't, and it doesn't work with right here where they want her to be a combat AI, and then right here, it's just like, it just doesn't work in general. It's just like, not, this should be multiplicative or something, but I don't know how that would work. But it should definitely be reworked 100%. And so, like, the element part doesn't work because elements don't work. And so, if this was a debuff, I think it'd work better. And if this just worked as a buff too, I don't think it mattered too much. Don't get it twisted. I think it'd kind of be broken, but at least it would work with her kit design of her being a support and a combat AI. And if this applied a debuff, kind of like how Prismatic Neon does, it would work with her kit, and it would work with the design of Prismatic Neon, and it would work with everything with her. And so it would be a nice like thing, but it doesn't structurally work. And this is something that upsets me, right? It's just like a pain point. It's like, oh wow. And this is a character, right? That when you get this, right? This was supposed to be a gacha game character. This was supposed to be a character that's monetized. It was supposed to be monetized. I guess in this case it is. But it was supposed to be monetized. And imagine someone paying for this and then it doesn't work the way it's intended. That's crazy. That's crazy. That level of lack of polish, should just be like, it shouldn't be a thing. Right? And they're not probably not even going to touch Fina in 1.1. They're not going to touch her introns, right? And so now let's go over to this, right? Randy and the gacha game. And this kind of goes over with me and Fina. Like, imagine if Randy, right? Randy does nothing until Intron 6. He literally does nothing. And I don't know if they redesigned it. I don't know if anything, right? Randy does nothing until Intron 6. Yo, imagine if this was a gacha game and Randy was a standard band or Li Yang, or like, maybe he was in a premium unit. Imagine that. He only works at C6. Besides that, he does nothing. That would have been insane. They would have literally, like, this game would have been DOA. Right? It's insane. So, even if you say, oh, well, the gacha game, all this, it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. And it makes you question, like, how capable are these people? It will always make you question it. And it's like, yeah, they're good people because they changed the design of their game, but it makes you question their competency. And that's something I always say. And this one, do you really want characters, an example, Fina, to be a fix for your weapons? So, like I said before, I have it up, so no, I don't have it up. So, Fina was supposed to be a fix for weapons, right? And she is a fix for weapons. But she isn't a fix for weapons in herself. And that lies in the fact of her Covenanter system, right? Like, the Covenanter system, which is another problem. She doesn't have access to morale, which currently is the best way to increase weapon damage. And is that an oversight? Or what is that? At what point did they test Fina for what? Right? And yes, she's a great support that fixes weapons for every other character in the game. But then I want to play Fina because I6 Fina works to buff weapons for herself. And she doesn't get the benefits of those modifiers nearly as well. Now, I haven't messed around with skill damage, Fina, but why would you go skill damage and HP on an attack scaling unit? Because that's what Covenanters, the Lumino units, get. So how are you going to release a unit that you want to go skill damage and attack and that? And then speaking about that, you can build skill damage on her and it's not highlighted because skill damage affects her dot. So that's another thing. Like, what? So if you want her to be billed as a support, but then you do these introns, and it doesn't make any sense. And even this, skill damage affects this. It affects the damage bonus. If you get more skill damage, it affects her damage bonus. It literally makes her do more damage. It literally increases her damage bonus that she gets with skill damage. So you're double dipping. So I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't know who can explain to me who designed that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And that's a structural problem because it's like, what? This character has so many scalings and so many different paths that you can take. And we're just saying this? And sure, you could be like, oh, well, that's just a new boy and they want you to build her as a combat AI. But clearly they don't want you to build her as a combat AI I6. So I don't get it. Sorry, I don't look at you guys. I look at the screen. It's whatever. The next thing is the game is designed to be played on mobile. Do you want mobile players to have screen and burn in for 300 hours of gameplay? Well, this is just more on the fact that this game was supposed to be a mobile game, and everyone plays it on PC. And so, what's the point of the game being designed around mobile? Because that literally just hinders the game. It literally just hinders the game because it's designed around mobile. Whereas if this game was strictly designed for PC play, because where most people play it, it's like, oh, I can't say most people. That's anecdotal AF. But where a lot of people that I've seen enjoy it, it's like, why? What? Like the game is kind of designed like on average, right? People, people over here, right? Um, stats. They have hundreds of hours. Right? This guy stole Emery's name. That's crazy. Do you want people to be on their phone for hundreds of hours? Now I'm pretty sure if you checked on mobile games, yeah, but it'd just be different because the amount of time consistently you'd have on this game and how much consistent play time you have on this game. That's the main thing. Versus like a normal gotcha game, you're kind of designed to play around it for like 30 minutes to an hour. This game you're designed to play for multiple hour sessions. I'd say like on average a session is probably like 2 hours plus, right? You can do things quickly, and a lot of it does flow quickly. But really, if you want to make progress, it's gonna be around longer sessions, and you can make that inch by inch progress. Like I've done over the week. I didn't play the game much for a week, but I made that inch by inch. I did a couple fishing, I did a couple dailies, and then I build up enough what is it? Secret clues to then use them, and then use them for to level up my Covenanters. So now my rhythm is pretty much maxed. Right over here, right? I did this slowly. So yeah, you can do it slowly, but you know, it's different. So I don't know. Mobile gameplay is strictly like mainly around events and like daily bonuses. If you want people to play more mobile, you have to give better bonuses, I'd say. But this is just more of a critique on the game. It's not really a structural. It's definitely a structural issue on this aspect of it. But my critique is definitely just a critique. So I don't really want to say anything on that because it has nothing to do with it. 20 secret letters and 2 purple books from an event. I understand this event was probably pre-jacked, but you can't tell me that's a good reward. Now, granted, it's a daily reward. I think the 20 secret letters is good, but 2 purple books, like if those were 2 purple commission manuals, I really feel like any of these rewards that are like purple and they were like supposed to be, they should just be commission manuals of the same rarity. That would literally just be a way better reward because commission manuals are way more valuable than purple books. And even then, 2 blue commission manuals is still about 1,000 times better than purple books. So for event rewards, these event rewards need to be relooked structurally because in the current game, these event rewards pointless. They're pointless. The events are only for me to see mommy on the story, right? Like that's all the events are for. The upgrading of commission manuals right here. This is just something like it's just more of a nitpick pick, and you could be like, oh well, this, and that. Bro, honestly, you could do so many changes to this, but the fact that the blues give you 200% and these give you 100 and it takes 4 makes no sense. Structurally, it's just kind of scammy, and I understand you want people to buy it or whatever, but even then, the fact that the blues upgrade into purple, it's just not a consistent system because the blues upgrade into purples at perfect rate. So it's just like you can make the greens too, and then it'd just be nice. You'd help the people that you want to play your game. I don't know why you'd have to be scummy about it. It's just weird. So I think structurally it'd just be better because you don't want to be a greedy gotcha company, but at the same time you have these weird greedy gotcha company practices. It just doesn't make much sense to me. And you say, oh, what is quality of life, bro? Quality of life doesn't have to come at the experience of your resources or the experience of your game. Honestly, it really doesn't. If you want to have a fair game where you want to treat people fairly and you want to have a good impression and you want to have a good game instead of a predatory game, I don't think you need that personally. Um, IMO, the elemental system is pointless restriction for a lot of wedges that already have restrictions. Yeah, a lot of wedges, they just have the restriction of what is it over here? I'll say this. They have the restrictions of they're limited by like their element or something, right? And this mainly goes for Typhons. Like Typhons shouldn't have that. They're aura mods for or demon wedges that give an aura buff, and that's their category. You can only have one of them. What's the point of having demon elements? They're weekly. This will take you like 2 years to get everything, and by then they'll be out of the game. I hope this gets fixed in 1.1. Hopefully it does. Oh, but there are new demon wedges, so you can get a new Typhon that you can farm in the new weekly dungeon, bro. Like, that's the thing. That's why I hate hearing that. So, I always want to see better systems, not like, because honestly, this game could have nothing for like 4 months, and they fix all these problems, and honestly, the game would be way better. But obviously, it'd be dead. But it'd be at the cost of cosmetics, right? Who knows? The game's already kind of reaching a point where players are kind of like, eh, they're kind of fed up. People are just farming drama instead of farming the game. So, yeah. These like I mean these would be cool if they just weren't elemental restricted. It's like one of pyro characters. This could just be character, and then you could just make these work with other characters. Maybe some characters want to attack. This would be cool for just making any character consume sanity and they do crit chance. I've talked about this before, but it'd just be nice, and like structurally it doesn't make much sense on building like it. So for a structural standpoint, it does make sense because they have this system, okay? And so this is what I call structure. I think it's a stupid structure and it's completely brain dead, but so we can tell from over here, and this is the easiest way to explain it. So Umbro characters are supposed to be characters that scale with morale. Hydro characters are supposed to be characters that scale with summons. Pyro multi-shot, okay. These guys, electro skill damage. Animo resolve, and you can see this in the game. And Lumino bonus damage, which is so weird because it's a bonus damage type for the character. And it's weird, but whatever. I'm not complaining. But it's their philosophy. It's still a weird system. Like, you see how structurally it's still weird? Like, it makes sense when you go Hydro and summons, Animo and resolve, Umbro and morale, even though morale works for everyone. You know, Pyro multi-shot with Lyn. It makes sense. It makes sense. And that's a system that structurally is a structure. It's a stupid structure, but that's a structure, and that's a design philosophy. If that's a design philosophy they want to stick with, that's something they can stick with, but it's still just weird, and it's like, it's kind of pointless to me, because then that means every single summon character you have in this game will just be Hydro. So then when you have content in the game, it just limits your future content pools. And yeah, of course, this can change. But I'm just saying in the current game, I don't like that, really. And that's just more of just like how the characters kind of line up. So it's not really that big of a deal. But you can see where I'm going with that. And the gacha system is swipe for RNG currency. I don't know why it's like this. I don't really care. It's something I don't participate in, so it doesn't matter to me. I won't support their weird skin practices, so. But you're swiping for currency after you get the skin. It makes no sense. You're just gambling to gamble. It's weird. It's really weird. And so, yeah, anyway, those are my current things with the structure in the game. Like I said, this is a name 5 cereals argument, and it's like everyone can name everything and all these different things. But these are just some examples, and it's just more to bring awareness on this structural thing, because there are so many things like the demon wedges. I didn't go over the demon wedges, how you can farm, how the main part of the game is co-op and the demon wedges can't be farmed in co-op. Like, you can go over a million things. But yeah, I'll see you guys. Bye bye.